Lebanon's government has voted to default on a foreign currency debt for the first time in the country's history. The country will no longer pay a €1.2 billion bond that matures this Monday. The Prime Minister Hassan Diab said Lebanon's debt had become more than it could bear and the decision had been made to protect the country's interests. Let's speak to Timour, a freelance journalist based in Beirut. To say the economy is in dire straits would be an understatement and, of course, has been the focus of so many protests in recent months. How are people reacting to this news?
Well, you have had people in this country calling for the government to actually default on this payment, because basically we're in a situation now in Lebanon where we have to choose between paying back these debts or securing basic necessities such as wheat, fuel, medical supplies. And so medical supplies, for example, have been in very short supply in the past months, as basically you have this moment of reckoning. You have an economic and financial system in this country that really for the past 30 years has run huge budget deficits. It's made a very small part of the population quite rich while basically impoverishing the nation. And so now you have this moment of reckoning. We have to wait and see how the losses are distributed.
Yeah, and also when you look at capital flight, I mean, millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars has left the country. Didn't the banks try and do something to stop that?
Yes, I mean, this has been really the subject of a lot of anger by protesters because basically you've had capital controls put in place in November that were supposed to stop capital flight from Lebanon. But it seems that well-connected people and perhaps even the heads of banks themselves got some of their money out of the country. That's the subject of an investigation. Earlier this week, we had a prosecutor freeze the assets of 20 banks, a decision that was quickly overturned. But we really are in this sort of pivotal moment where the streets are boiling and people are waiting for accountability.
So what happens now? I mean, a haircut obviously is going to have to take place in terms of the country. International loans, IMF, I suppose historically Beirut or Lebanon might have turned to Iran, but they are subject to sanctions. I mean, what are the options?
As experts are saying, there's no good options, there's less bad options. But today, Lebanon has decided to face reality. And that's important because facing reality in this country is kind of, is actually something remarkable. And so basically, a party that's been going for 30 years has now stopped. Lebanon is going to enter into negotiations with both foreign creditors and local creditors. There is some opposition, both from the street, from protesters, from various civil society groups, and also officially from Hezbollah, which is sort of the driving force in Lebanese politics today, against IMF involvement. So we're in the early stages of this. It's probably going to be a long path. We're going to see capital controls probably remain in place for years. We may see banks basically need restructuring. And we're at the beginning of this now.
OK, all right. Timour Azhari, good to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on BBC World News.